Barrett Brooks, NBC Sports Philadelphia, Eagles pre- and post-game live. I know there's a lot to dive into on this one, but Barrett, this is a different game if Wentz hits on a couple of throws.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Same thing, make you laugh, make you cry, and that's exactly what went on yesterday. Our quarterback played at a phenomenal rate the past couple of weeks, and he will continue to play that way. But, hey, sometimes, you get the Bear, sometimes the Bear gets you, and Russell Wilson, the Bear, got us this time. I think Carson just wasn't as focused as he usually is. He wasn't dialed in as he usually is, and all of the line didn't block for him as well as they had before. They struggled a little bit, and Carson struggled a lot. It was simple mistakes that were being made, simple things that he had were spot on the weeks before. So I'm not going to use this as the doom and gloom. I'm just going to say, all right, this is just a hiccup in the road. We're going to keep going, continue to play well, and move forward.
The one thing, Doug definitely didn't coach the same way last night as he has been coaching. So moving forward, does that concern you?
No, actually, he's been pretty good about adjusting to his mistakes, not doing the same thing over and over again, and basically making sure that he takes it, learns from it, files it away, and tries not to do it again. And yesterday, I just think that he wasn't as aggressive to start the game off, and it kind of went into, the entire game from him not being that aggressive. This team has certain expectations, and, like it or not, your team takes on the identity of the head coach. And yesterday, he wasn't as aggressive, so you can see in their demeanor they weren't as aggressive. And that's the way they played. It wasn't scared. I know for a fact they weren't scared. I just think that they just weren't as aggressive as they usually are, which gave them a sense of not timidity, but they were just weren't as aggressive as they've been the past couple of weeks. You got to go for the dare. You got to make sure that you go out there and finish plays, and they weren't finishing plays yesterday. There was a lot of yards left on the field, too many mistakes, undisciplined play. Guys had too many flags being thrown. It just was a messy game yesterday, and it started out messy and ended messy. We all knew that Russell Westbrook wants to get out, break the pocket, and make sure he gets out on the edge. You have to keep him contained. Well, to start off, defense let them out on a simple zone read play. Curry crashes down, doesn't take care of his outside responsibility. And look, we start the game off exactly what we said we weren't going to do.
Yeah, I thought another disappointing part last night was the lack of tackling and the lack of gap responsibility. That was a big disappointment because the improvising of Russell Wilson was the difference in that game, and that could have been eliminated.
No question. Just like we just talked about. You have to make sure that you keep him confined in the pocket. Make him throw from the pocket. Make him look over that offensive line. They didn't do that, and it hurt him. As the game progressed, he got more and more confident, and we told him we didn't want to do that. You could just tell from the conversation that Doug had and when he was talking as far as saying, all right, maybe we need a down home, fight it out, wait till, win at the end of the game type of game in order to make sure we're focused on what we need to be focused on. Well, he got half of that wish. It went to the edge, and we lost. The only thing is we lost to a team that they weren't as good as us, number one. And number two, we just weren't as disciplined. We had an undisciplined team, and we were more undisciplined than they were.
Yeah.
So, it just didn't make sense, all the mistakes we made, overthrowing of Nelson Aguilar twice, overthrowing, the running back on a blitz. The blitz. Sometimes you got to sit in there and wait for, Kenyon Barner to get out of the state. And that'd have been 6. If he was to get that ball over and to Kenyon Barner against the blitz, he'd have walked into the end zone. That's a score.
Yeah.
The fact that we went in and LeGarrette Blount was able to take it down to the 1-yard line, but Alshon Jeffries didn't think that the play was going to get to him and he was going to have to block. So he was kind of half behind blocking the guy, but then once he saw the LeGarrette Blount coming, now he wants to turn it on and try to block. Well, it's too late now because your hands on the outside of the cylinder. If he had his hands on the inside of the center, blocking like he was supposed to, blocking like he thought the play was coming to him, then it'd been on the 1-yard line. We'd have probably went in and scored on that play. Then the overthrow to Nelson Aguilar. There was just a bunch of hidden yards that were left out on the field, and we didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, there's a lot, and it goes back to, I don't think Peterson had a great game, but if they execute, they would have won that game last night. So that displays to me, Barrett, how important this game becomes because you got to get the home field. That game last night shows you why you have to have home field because I think that's a different game in Philly last night.
No question. No question. It would be, and I think we just need to go out there and concentrate more on what we need to do to win. I'm not worried about, like I said last week, I'm not a big fan of all the dancing and stuff like that. And, I was talking to guys about that, and they were like, all right, I don't care about the dance. Even talking to Seth Joyner, I said, man, I don't like all that dancing stuff. I want to just focus, go ahead and do it. Well, he said, well, if you don't want to dance, then stop them from dancing. So what did Seattle do? They stopped them from dancing. Wasn't no two-stepping out there this time. They lined up, put their chair strap on, and beat them physically. And that's what happened. They got beat physically. They got out-coached. So maybe they use this as a rallying cry and go in and start focusing on the little things again, start doing the little things to become better players. I told them last week, we had too many penalties, too many assignment busts. Guys going out there and playing half behind and, Big V letting guys on the inside. You cannot let a guy on the inside when you're blocking him. That's the fastest way to the quarterback. He got beat 3 times in this game with a guy going on the inside of him instead of stopping the penetration. It stemmed from the week before against the Bears.
Hey, Barrett.
Too many guys inside.
Barrett, Peterson indicated last night that he was not thrilled with their preparation, and then Jenkins echoed it last night in the locker room. It seems that maybe they didn't have a great week of preparation and that they were looking at that 10-1 record a little bit.
No question. I mean, you stop all the choreograph and dances and go out there and practice. You got there from the way in which you practice. You are a mirror reflection of what you do in practice. If you practice hard, you practice crisp, you go out there and have a crisp game and playing crisp. You cannot think that you can just go out and just step on people and think they're just going to roll over. You have a team that's been time-tested and battle-tested and been to a Super Bowl before. The core group of those guys understand what it is to be on the mountaintop. So don't think that they're not trying to go out there and make sure they embarrass you, understanding what it is to play in December. They've had the hard games playing in December, and they showed this Eagles team what they need to do to get ready to go into December and start winning these games again.
Barrett Brooks, NBC Sports Philadelphia Eagles pre- and post-game here on the Sports Bash. Of course, Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, Barrett, one thing is for sure, a lot of these games throughout the course of a regular season, you learn from, you move on. And to me, I put Wentz at the top of that list, but that's why I feel like they can move on because I thought he did not play his best. He had his moments, but I think that given the same opportunities, he makes those plays down the road.
Yeah, he will. This is definitely a learning experience. Carson's not the type of quarterback to make back-to-back mistakes. He understands what it is. He's going to focus. He's going to get guys focused with him. They kind of needed this going into this final stretch, going into the playoffs. They needed something to get them going and really refocus their intentions on making it to the playoffs. At this point, Minnesota's ahead of them in the ranking. They're number 1, and the Eagles are number 2 just from strength of schedule. So they got to get this home field advantage back, understanding that to win the rest of their games. And I'll tell you what, the Eagles have a harder schedule than the Vikings do going in. They got North Carolina next week. And then after that, they guys like the Cleveland Browns, guys like that, on the rest of their schedule. So they got a much easier schedule going into the playoffs. So they're going to have to win every single one of them going in. And it still might be the Vikings, if they win out also, that'll have home field advantage.
Well, I tell you what, you see the difference in playing a Mitchell Trubisky and a C.J. Beathard and a Brock Osweiler and guys like that as opposed to Russell Wilson. I mean, that's just what – and those are the guys that you face. You're going to have to win 2 or 3 times in the playoffs. You got to beat guys on that level.
No question. We're playing against a defense that were walking wounded. The Legion of Boom wasn't there. Just one of the Bees was there, just it wasn't even boom. It was just and he played well enough. Thomas played well enough, and got his guys going and rallied them out there. And then, wasn't it just poetic justice that Byron Maxwell ends the game with an interception? Come on, man. Come on. If that doesn't get you refocused, nothing will.
Well, I get the fact that he was here and he did not play well, but one of the reasons why he got signed to that deal is because he fit what they do. I mean, sometimes we lose track of that, Barrett, where if a guy doesn't play well one place, we just think he stinks. But he got paid here because he played well there. I mean, he's a good fit for what they do.
Well, he stinks up there because he got beat a bunch of times.
Yes, he did get beat last night.
We just didn't take advantage of. We didn't take advantage of him. In fact, if I was Carson, if I saw him, I would literally get up from my stance, look at him, who's ever on him.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Gibson out there. I'm throwing it to you. I'm telling you, right? I'm throwing it to you because he can't hold.
Well, they play a lot of cover. They play a lot of cover 3, right? Which means you don't get a lot of shots down the field. They're trying to keep you underneath, and people were getting frustrated because they weren't taking shots down the field, but they took a couple shots down the field. Wentz missed them.
Well, he couldn't throw down the field also because you got your offensive line, your tackle being your left tackle, your backside tackle, getting beat in the inside, getting beat up pretty bad in the pass rush. So, I mean, that's long story long, Big V did not have a good game. Because he didn't have a good game, they couldn't push the ball down the field without giving him extra help. But if you give him extra help, you can't press down the field because now you don't have the receivers or the tight ends to go out and press down the field.
Right.
So the emphasis was going out there and making sure we took advantage of the seam routes and in the interior of that field. And we couldn't because we didn't have enough time because we had to leave extra blockers in. But, I mean, it was just a domino effect. Long story long, we ran the ball well in the first half, 90-something yards in the first half, come out the second half, and don't run at all.
Well, that was one. That was another thing, Barrett. They ran the ball well, and I figured, all right, you're setting them up in the second half, and they never went back to the run, and they didn't set much up. I mean, the game plan in the second half, they didn't make the adjustments.
Well, the Seattle Seahawks controlled the third quarter. And that's usually our quarter. But once they gave them a 3-and-out, made them go 3-and-out.
Well, when you drove right down the field on him, you had to fumble.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. He fumbled at the goal line.
Yep.
And from that point on, I mean, it was they drove the ball down the field, scored, and they just took control of the game. And from that point on, we couldn't do anything about it. We just had to sit there and like it. They, the whole crowd got back into it because in the first half the crowd wasn't into it. It was too close for them to be into it. But the second half they took over. You can't hear. Now it's harder for the offensive tackles and the guys on the offensive line to block on time because you can't get off the ball because you can't hear the snap count. All those things run hand in hand, man. When I say it started going downhill, it started going downhill bad.
All right, Barrett Brooks, of course, you can hear him on NBC Sports Philadelphia, Eagles pre- and post-game live, and every Monday here for Barrett's Breakdown on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. All right, BB, take care, pal.
Take care, Mike. Have a good one, bro.